Alright, hello everyone. Here we're back for a Golf Clash tutorial video here, and going to go ahead and put Sniper as priority here. Length can come into a little bit of an issue, not too much. I'll put Sniper 5 here towards the top. Next, in terms of ball guide and accuracy, you really don't need a lot of spin for this hole. So let me go ahead and I'll put Hammerhead 1 as next priority. Guardian's going to be down here towards the bottom. And you also just need a 4 just to be on the safe side. No, you only need a 2. Cat 1. So that will be the order of preference as to how to go about doing this. And let's talk about the wins here. What I like, what I pretty much do since the new update, there's pretty much no exception, is I'll play this rough bump. The spot that you aim is right in between the bunker and rough surfaces. Now the guys who screw this up usually land and hit the sand or great ball it and potentially, miss hitting in between that surface. But there is some wiggle room. You have at least kind of like a 2-yard window to hit to where it'll actually run out. And you can see, it basically ducks below this tree. It'll come in kind of at this angle right here and just kind of miss this tree. You might have to aim around the tree, depending on what wind you have, but you should be able to miss it without too much problem. Now, what I'll usually use is a little bit of backspin. So it's usually about 1 back for the normal side wind. Maybe, one's probably pretty good. Towards the tailwind case, we're going to start to up it to maybe as much as 1.5. So 1.25 here. For the headwind case, you might need to start, taking off just very, very minimal amount. Maybe just a little bit under 1 here, about 0.75 for that case. What the goal is to land here, and then you just kind of, trickle up here, and then kind of hook down towards the pin. So you'll usually use a little bit of side spin, a little bit of left spin to get it to feed the correct way, and you'll just use the ball guide, that's where the Sniper comes in, to kind of feed how much up the slope or down the slope that you need. So the thing that you need to consider is wind effect. So that'll kind of dictate how much of that hook you need to create on this little, because for tailwinds, it's going to go beyond that ball guide just a little bit. So you'll want to only bring it a little bit up the hill. Whereas in a headwind, you'll want to almost put it into the fringe because you know that it's going to compress down and not roll out as much. So let's talk a little bit about the adjustments here. So for the side wind case, for instance, I'll usually use maybe max minus 10%. Very similar for a tailwind. I'll use max minus 10 as well. And that's minus 10, not plus 10. So for instance, if I was inputting a wind here, 6.5, minus 10 would be 6.0 rings. It's very similar to, say, mid number. You'll see that mid number is very close. So another thing that you can do is mid number for your adjustment. But I like to keep everything in terms of max because it makes things much more simple for you to remember all shootouts when you're only thinking about one variable. Let's talk a little bit about this headwind case. This is probably the only time where I will need to use my max adjustment, or very, very close to a max adjustment will be in that headwind situation. So aside from that, it's going to come down to just a little minimal differences in wind effect, and being able to see that ball guide is going to make this shot a little bit easier. That's why I kind of put Guardian down here towards the bottom. I could still win this hole. You'll still see some shootouts where I do it. But I pretty much don't do any other shots. Another thing you can do is you can aim off this. It's going to require you're going to need full spin. And it's going to be a long iron shot. It's going to be very, very challenging. You'll probably need a Goliath. I would still use very similar to a max ring adjustment in this situation. But it's going to require 3 side spin. It's going to require a lot of curl. And you're just not going to be able to get it as close on a consistent basis, especially since the new update. This is the shot. There's different variants as well. You can also top spin it through the sand, but I recommend just kind of landing right in between those two surfaces, the rough, the bunker. It's going to give you a very consistent, and you'll be able to see that. I have videos of doing it, and you'll be able to easily manipulate this hole with this help. So good luck, guys, and see you guys next time.